Good evening. How's everybody doing? Wayne County Audit. How's everybody doing? Drinking that bum ass Arizona iced tea that used to be 99-cent iced tea. Now it's $1.40. Something like that. Who knows? Surprised the shit ain't $5 yet. $5 no holla. I can spend $100 bill like a fat kid can eat a Twinkie. Real easy. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Slain, assassinated by a bomb, by a cock, by a leftist degenerate piece of filth. What a shame. What a shame. But I hope people wake up, especially on the right. I really do, that people wake up and realize that they're picking us off one by one, guys. They're picking us off one by one. And I know there's no easy answer. I know there's no easy answer to really anything about it. I mean, some people will tell you, "Oh yeah, just leave America, leave it all behind you." And obviously that's easier said than done. But I don't think fleeing is the answer. I don't think running away is going to solve any problems for most people at least. I think that we as a collective, as an American culture, we have got to take some stands on certain issues collectively. Because if we don't, man, I mean, we're all going to get Charlie Kirked at some point. We're all going to get Kirked. Because the more that, the right especially, because I would say the right wing obviously is more individualistic. And that's part of the reason why we struggle to, really get anything done collectively. It's because, we try to embrace our individualism first and foremost. And, that's important. It's important to have it's important to have your individualism, I guess, but the left is very, very much capable of organizing and mobilizing. And the right just always seems to me to be more stagnant. We kind of fight amongst each other, and we try to one up each other, and a lot of us don't really realize or care to realize that the left hates us. The left absolutely, positively despises you. They want you dead. And the sooner that we, not just as right wingers, right, but as Americans, once we kind of realize that collectively, I mean, we really are unstoppable. But the problem is that we like to fight amongst each other. We like to pride ourselves on being an individual first and foremost, and that's great. That's fucking fantastic, right? But the problem with that is your enemies are collectivists, and they will stop at nothing to ensure that their agenda is carried out and that it's implemented. And we just don't seem to have this ability to organize the same way, and I know that's why they murdered or assassinated Charlie Kirk, was because he was very effective at mobilizing young people and bringing young people into politics. And unfortunately, we didn't cherish him enough. Collectively, I should say. And we can sit here and blame the media. We can sit here and blame the rhetoric that's accepted in politics and in the mainstream now. I mean, it's, you can openly advocate for murder of somebody on, Twitter or X and Reddit and places like that. I mean, where are these people getting radicalized at? That's the question. And it's clear as day. I mean, they're getting radicalized mainly on the internet, mainly on social media sites, and Reddit in particular. Reddit is cancer on society. And to a lesser extent, X, but still to, a similar extent. I mean, X is worse than Rumble, than Gab, than all those sites, right? I mean, as far as they don't really police anything, they don't really moderate the content, so to speak. And so it's really not surprising at all when shit like this occurs. It's really not surprising at all. It's honestly, I mean, I hate to say it, but it kind of surprises me that it doesn't happen more often, with the way that social media companies allow people on their platforms to just spew evil and, vindictive rhetoric, right? I mean, it's one thing to be, talking about fake news or whatever, right? It's a whole nother thing to openly call for the assassination of your political enemies and nothing's done about it, right? I mean, not only are they allowed to stay on the platform and continue doing what they're doing, but they don't get a visit from the state, from the police. They don't get a visit from, a fucking psych ward evaluation. They just we live in this country now. We live in this culture. Like, I can't even describe it. It's like it's like people just want to go along to get along, right? Like, they see open degeneracy and they just, and I mean, it's because for good reason, right? I mean, look at Daniel Penny, right? When he tried to intervene. I mean, look what, 2 years of hell that man had to go through, right? And so we know, I mean, people don't forget that the system is designed to protect the scumbags, the criminals, the crooks. It's not designed to get to the truth. It's not designed to protect innocent people. I mean, clearly. I mean, we sat and watched for months, right? It seemed like years. BLM just obliterating entire blocks of American cities, right? And what got done? I mean, where was the retaliation at, right? I mean, where was the response to that? By and large, Americans, I mean, outside of like Kyle Rittenhouse, I mean, we as Americans just took it in the ass. I mean, we don't seem to really be too eager to, fight the good fight, so to speak. And I get it, who wants to be a martyr, who wants to be the one that has to fall on the sword. I get it, but at some point, what else is there? Just keep watching each other get picked off one by one. You know, the fact that that could even happen, right? The fact that somebody could almost kill the, you know, president of the United States, and, you know, they can just shoot, you know, probably the biggest political figure of my lifetime that I can recall. I mean, and you just watched it in broad daylight, you know, and it's just like, wow, just like that, just like that. So yeah, I mean, we as Americans have just got to say enough is enough, especially with these media companies, right? I mean, these media companies and these judges and these prosecutors, they need to be held beyond liable for the garbage that they allow. I mean, you know, we sit here and allow collectively just like mainstream media to talk about the president of the United States like he's Adolf Hitler. I mean, it's absurd. And then we sat back and wonder why there's, you know, radical political violence. And it's like, well, you know, you get what you put up with. And we as a culture, we put up with way too much. And it's like we live in this country now where people are just scared to enforce decency, right? I mean, we live in a country now where people just want to kind of put their heads down and they don't want to get involved. And, you know, I mean, look at the Charlotte incident, right? I mean, people were just getting off the fucking, just getting right off the train, getting right out of the, you know, I mean, getting just your throat slashed, and people are just walking out like they don't want to get involved because, you know, they've seen what Daniel Penny had to go through. And, you know, we watched cities get burnt to the ground over George Floyd, which, you know, not saying that George Floyd deserved to die. I don't want you to get that, but he kind of did it to himself, right? I mean, in all honesty. And, you know, he had an overdose, and we had to watch for months and months and months. Cities get burnt down, people get killed over, let's just be frank, a piece of shit, right? Someone who's never contributed to society in any meaningful way and has only, you know, parasited off of it. We watched that. And then we watched Daniel Penny, you know, almost go to prison the rest of his life for trying to protect people. And we've seen countless, you know, other examples as well, but those are just the two that kind of come to my mind, you know, right off the rip. And then you see the Charlotte stabbing, and, you know, now you see this, and you're just like, wow. I mean, what else is coming? I mean, if we're not going to put our foots down as a culture and say, hey, you know, this rhetoric that's just casually passed along on social media, I mean, someone's got to be held liable, right? When a judge or a prosecutor lets somebody off the hook, lets them out early, lets them out on good behavior, and then they go and stab the shit out of somebody, or, you know, shoot the shit out of somebody, or rape the shit out of somebody, or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it seems like common sense, right? But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we live in a country with too much common sense. But yeah, I would be very much in favor of those judges and prosecutors to have to endure the same punishment that their, you know, eventual victims had to endure, right? I mean, that should be pretty standard, right? And I know people will say, oh, well, if we do that, then there won't be any judges or cops or this or that. And it's just like, miss me with that bullshit, man. You know, if you want to have absolute power should come with absolute accountability. Absolute accountability. So, miss me with that bullshit, right? And perfect example, right? The Charlie Kirk assassination. The piece of shit who shot him should be executed in the same manner. No, actually, that's too kind. Um, we need to start making examples out of. That would be a perfect example where a lynching would be acceptable, right? A lynching, there's a reason why they used to lynch people back in the day. It wasn't just because people are fucking evil. It was to try to deter others, right? I mean, if you are a crazy motherfucker thinking about doing evil, nasty shit to people, and then all of a sudden you see somebody evil and nasty that's hanging from a tree publicly, you might go, I better hold off on what I was thinking about doing, right? Or my idea, which people think is crazy and radical, I say that in situations like this, right, the person's family should be put in prison along with them. Because the thing is those pieces of shit that do these type of crimes, they might not care about their own lives, but chances are they care about their family's life or their children's life. And I know it sounds sinister and sick, but I just don't see at this point, right? I mean, it's like you got to treat these people like they're terrorists, right? And it's like, how do you get a terrorist to give a shit, right? Well, you go after their family. You go after their family, and then all of a sudden they start giving a shit because most terrorists love their families, right? And so there's gonna have to be some tough decisions being made in this country because the status quo is just not it's not getting it. It's not getting it done. And people should be scared to death. I mean, terrified to commit random acts of violence or coordinated acts of violence, any act of violence. People should be fucking terrified to commit a crime like that. Fuck a death penalty, man. I mean, a death penalty is a formality, man. I mean, people like that need to be publicly tortured, and it needs to be broadcasted to the world like, hey, this is what we're going to do to you if you do any of this. If you commit a murder, a rape, a robbery, a violent attack. I'm not saying if you commit a robbery, you should be executed. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that there needs to be strong deterrence in place. And we're just getting too soft as a society. We're getting way too soft, and we're getting away from our roots, right? I mean, you look at how they used to, just look at the 17 and 1800s, right? And even the early 1900s. Say what you will about people back then, but people weren't pussies, right? People weren't easily cocked, right? I mean, if you did some fucked up shit, you didn't have to worry about the police or the justice system. No, you had to worry about everybody else because they're going to drag you out of your fucking house and they're going to lynch you. They're going to tar and feather you. And I don't know. I don't know when we lost, our way, but we've clearly, as a society, we've just lost our way here, guys. And I get it. We're being attacked from all angles. I get it. Especially white America. I mean, I get it. But what are we gonna say? Enough is enough. When are we gonna fight back collectively? Now I'm doing what I can. I'm doing more than I probably should try to take on. But if I got to be the one to fall on the fucking sword, I'll be the one to fall on the sword. And that's how people got to have their mentality. If we as a collective had that mentality that we were just willing to fall on the fucking sword, this shit ends. This shit ends overnight. Pretty much in an instant. And so it's up to you guys. It's up to all of us. We don't have to put up with it. We just choose to for reasons I'm not quite sure, but that requires us to do some soul searching, right? And this country needs to do it because what happened to Charlie Kirk can happen to any of us. What happened in Charlotte can happen to any of us. And I don't want to live in a country like that. And I'm tired of living in a country like that. And I might have the means to run away, although I'm not going to, because this is my home. This is all that I've ever known. This is all I ever will know. And it's worth fighting for. But we got to start fighting.